In the last video, we have discussed about the leasing. What is its definition, features, who are the parties? Definitely there are only two parties which are involved in the leasing, that is lessor and lessee. And what can be the possible advantages and disadvantages for in going for leasing from point of view of both lessor as well as lessee. In this lecture, we will start with the reasons or rationales for leasing, or what can be the possible reasons why should we go for leasing. Though there are certain advantages but disadvantages too. So then why we should rush for leasing? The very first reason or rationale can be the convenience thing. The leasing is the most convenient way for the person to go for it. Why? So suppose that as a person you need a car for a month. What would you do? You would go and purchase the car, or would you like to lease it? So if we go for purchasing a car, we need to prepare certain documentation, we need to choose a car, then we need to go for the, after purchasing we need to go for that use of that 1 month, and after that 1 month, what is the use of car? It would be none of our use. So we usually try to rent it or lease it at that point of time. That is what is the convenience thing in case of leasing. For a small tenure like 1 month, 2 months, 1 year or 2 years, we cannot go for purchasing any kind of asset which can be fixed or any kind of equipment. Rather than leasing is more convenient option. For example, if suppose you have to do some construction work at your premises, what you would go do? You would go and purchase the mixer, you would go and purchase some hydraulic machines or what, or you are going to rent it. Definitely we are going to rent it. Why would we would rent it? Because we would need it for a very short tenure or for a very specific period or for a specified purpose, and after that it would be of no use to us. That is why we usually find it convenient to go for it. That is what the first reason for using the asset for going for leasing, that is the convenience. The second thing is the better utilization of the tax shields. Definitely an organization has to work in the different what we can say different tax zones in different countries. So by leasing the asset, they can utilize that tax shield in the better way. In the better way means that they can save the taxes from the point of view of the company, so they can better utilize that tax shields. Third one is the fewer restrictive covenants. There are less restriction as compared to the leasing. We can have the better facilities by way of leasing. As there is less restriction in leasing, we can definitely use it as good as we are using the asset which is owned by us. We can use it and mention it in the lease contract, so there would be less restrictions on it. Then the most important thing is the lower cost of obsolescence risk. In way of leasing, the obsolescence risk is reduced to minimum as the asset is not owned with us, so there would definitely not be the risk of obsolescence with us. The obsolescence risk would be with the owner of the asset. In case of leasing also, somewhat we can say that for a small period or for a very less period, there can again be the obsolescence risk with the leasee also, but it would be again very reduced as compared to the ownership. That is why leasing can be preferred. Next thing is the by going for leasing, we can match our lease rental to the cash flows capabilities of the company. As we all know, by purchasing the asset, we have to make a huge cash outlay at the starting of at the purchasing of the asset. But in leasing, there are fixed cash flows to be paid at the certain periodic intervals. So we can manage that cash flow according to the capabilities of the companies with the agreed terms with the lessor. That is what the again next reason for going for leasing. Next is the strengthening of the borrowing capacity or borrowing position of the company. As we go for leasing and it is not showed on the balance sheet of the company, so there is not any kind of debt with the company, and company can definitely go for the additional purchasing as compared to the owning the asset. By owning the asset, we usually have to raise the finance, and by raising the finance, there is increase in the debt in the balance sheet. But by leasing, there is not any kind of what we can say showing on the balance sheet that an asset is being leased by the company. So it gives the financial strength to the company and it increases its borrowing position. Next is the capital preservation. By going for leasing, there is no need for doing any kind of capital expenditure, which helps the company for preserving the capital for other activities like expansion and else thing, and it could help the company for other purposes also. Next thing is the financing of the soft cost. Whenever we purchase the asset, there are additional costs which we have to incur with the purchasing of the asset, like transportation, its installation, its maintenance and all that kind of things. But by way of leasing, we can finance all these costs easily, as most of the things are to be borne by the lessor, and if something is to be borne by us as a leasee, so we can have a part of it and we can rest the other cost with the lessor again. So this can be the possible reason for going for leasing. Then by circumvention of certain controls, by have the leasing option, we can have the criteria that in certain organization for going for purchasing of the asset and making a capital expenditure, there is a length process for it which we need to follow. For example, it needs to be get approved from the directors, or from the it needs to be put in the AGM. But by having the leasing option, we don't have to go for it, and we can easily have the control over the operations of the organization. Now we can move to the types of leasing. The types of leasing, in which various types are included, but from the criteria of the organization, the very first type is operating lease. It is considered as an important type from the point of view of organization. Operating lease is the lease in which the lessee uses the asset for a specific period of time. The lessor bears the risk of obsolescence in this and the incidental risk. This risk, there is an option to the either party to terminate the lease after giving notice. The operating lease is also known as open end lease agreement. In operating lease, the lease period is quite small as compared to the other types of lease. In operating lease, it is been for a specific period, for say 1 year, for say 6 months, 1.5 years, 2 years, whatever it may be, and hence the risk of obsolescence is always with the lessor. That is why the lessor usually prefers the financial lease as compared to the operating lease. This lease is also known as open-end lease agreement, as anyone can terminate the lease agreement after giving the notice to the other party. Second type, and the important type, is the financial lease. The difference between both the leases of the tenure. Financial lease is the lease or a contract involving payment over a longer period. It is a long-term lease, and lessee will be paying much more than the cost of the property or the equipment to the lessor in form of lease rentals. As we have discussed, in operating lease we will pay a considerably less amount than the cost of the asset, but in financial lease usually the cost of the asset is covered, even though in certain financial lease, as the agreement is for the longer tenure, more than the cost of the asset is being paid by the lessee. It is irrevocable. You cannot revoke the agreement, or you cannot terminate the contract between the lessor and lessee for in financial leasing, but we can do so in the operating lease. In this type of lease, the lessee has to bear all the cost, and the lessor do not render any kind of services. As we have discussed earlier in the rationale, the maintenance cost and else cost in the operating lease are beared by the lessor, but in the financial lease, all the costs incidental to the equipment or machine are to be beared by the lessee. Then next is the sale and leaseback method or leaseback type. It is the subpart of financial lease under this method, the owner of the asset sells the asset to the party usually known as buyer, who in turn lease the same asset to the owner or in consideration of lease rental. It means that I would sell the asset to a buyer who will again lease the asset to the owner. That means that an owner has sold the asset, that asset has been purchased by buyer, that buyer has leased the asset to the owner. Why this is so, or why this arrangement is made? Under this arrangement, the asset are not physically usually exchanged. The asset is always with the owner because he was the owner. He has sold to the buyer and again he has leased the same asset. That is why physically asset is not exchanged between the buyer and the seller or owner. That is the first thing, is that the asset is not physically exchanged between both the things, and this arrangement is usually for the accounting purpose or the financial purpose only. The records are being interchanged. The owner is being changed from this person. For example, person A was the owner. He has sold the asset to person B, and he has leased the asset again to the person C. The ownership rights would go from A to B, but the asset would always be remained with the A, as he was the previous owner and he has again leased the same asset from the buyer to whom he has sold the asset. That is the feature of this what we can say method. And the advantage of this method is that the leasing, that is the owner of the asset, in this example A has complete satisfaction that regarding the quality of the asset, as he has own the asset. That is why he can satisfy himself with the quality of the asset, and after possession of the asset, convert the sale into the lease agreement. Against this is usually done for maintaining the financials of the company, or usually for reducing the financial burden for the owner. That is what is sale and lease back. We would sell our asset and again lease back the same asset, so that we could not need to physically exchange. We could not have to physically exchange the asset, and at the same time we could get assured quality as the asset was previously owned by us. Next type is the direct lease. In direct lease, the leasee and the owner of the equipment are the two different parties, and it can be sub-classified into two types. The first type can be bipartite and second can be tripartite. This can be of two types, that is bipartite and tripartite. One second. In bipartite agreement, usually there are two parties. First one can be the supplier of equipment or labor, and second can be the leasing. It is usually just like an operating lease, and with the facilities like upgradation lease, in which the option of upgrading the equipment is provided in the future, whereas second can be the swap lease. It provides with an option to replace the equipment with the similar equipment in the working condition, if that's so. Then second one is the tripartite. In tripartite lease, usually there are three parties, as the name says. The first one is the equipment supplier, second one is the lessor, and third one is the leasing. All these are three different parties involved in the leasing transaction. It is a sale-side lease under which the equipment supplier arranges for lease finance either by providing reference about the customer to the leasing company or negotiating the terms with the customer, and third can be the writing lease on his own account and discounting the lease receivables with the with the designated leasing company. In this tripartite lease, the supplier usually provides the reference to the leasing company of the leasing, so that they could have the lease agreement. And second can be the supplier can act as a negotiator from the lessor point of view, so that they could have the deal with the leasing and he can even though write the agreement on their part. Next type is the single investor lease. In single investor lease agreement, there is only one investor, that is the lessor. Again, there would be two parties involved in lessor and leasing. The leasing company, that is known as lessor, funds the entire investment of the equipment or machinery by by having an appropriate mix of debt and equity. The debt can be raised by the company by way of financing the asset, and whereas in case of single investor lease, if the lessor fails to service the interest of the lease, or in case of default, then the financing company doesn't have the right to recover that amount or recover that payment from the leasing. That is what is single investor lease, in which an investor goes for a debt, a mix of both debt as well as equity. Debt is arranged by the financing company, by the leasing company. If the leasing company fails to service its debt, the lender or the financing company does not have the right to recover the payment from the leasing. Next is the domestic lease. As the name suggests, the domestic lease is a transaction which is between the parties which are domiciled in the same country. It can be said that, for example, if a transaction is being executed for a lease and the person X or lessor is belonging from the Punjab, whereas the leasee is belonging to the Maharashtra, then it could be termed as an domestic lease. In case of direct lease, tripartite lease also, if all the three parties are belonging to India, then it can be classified as domestic lease. Next is the international lease. So what is an international lease as compared to the domestic lease? As all the parties were situated in the same country, in international lease, the leasing transaction parties are located in 2 or 3 different countries. The transaction then is only classified as the international lease. For example, X party who is going to lease the asset belonging to India, that is the lessor is belonging to India, and the asset is being required for say in the European countries, for say Britain. So it can be classified as the international lease. Then the last one is the leverage lease. This is the popular way of financing the big assets such as aircraft, oil rigs or railway equipment. In contrast to the earlier mentioned types of lease, 3 parties are usually involved. In case of leverage lease, leasee, lessor as well as the lender, as the amount of the asset to be leased is quite high, hence lessor needs a financer or a lender for that purpose. Leasing company contributes by way of equity, whereas financial institutions or banks act as a lender and finance the asset by way of term loan for purchasing that asset and leasing it to the leasing. That is what is leverage lease. And these were the types of the lease. In short, operating lease for the short period, which usually does not cover the cost of the asset. Financial lease is usually for longer period, covering the overall cost of the asset as well as gives some profit also. Sale and leaseback arrangement, in which the owner of the asset sells its asset to a buyer and again lease that asset from that buyer, so that he or she could have the assurance on the basis of quality and asset is not physically exchanged. Direct lease, bipartite and tripartite. In bipartite there are 2 parties involved. In tripartite there are 3 parties involved. Single investor lease, in this an investor the asset is being financed by way of appropriate debt as well as equity mix. The equity is arranged by the leasing company, whereas the debt is being financed by the lender, and lender has no right to recover its payment from the leasee in case the leasing company fails to pay. Then is the domestic lease. When the all parties involved in the transaction are from the same country, then it can be said as domestic lease. International lease, when either of the parties are situated outside a country, then it can be classified as a leverage. International lease. Last one is the leverage lease. Leverage lease is the lease which is usually for the leasing for the high cost asset, in which three parties are usually involved: lender, lessor and lessee. Lender usually finance the cost of the asset for the purpose of leasing. Leasing company usually provides the equity base, and lessee is the person who is going to rent that asset. In leverage lease, usually the assets like aircrafts, railway equipments or oil rigs are being leased, and it is usually popular for these big ticket assets. In the next lecture, we will move the portion further. Until then, stay tuned. Thank you.